Hello, this is Doctress Neutopia and this is Lovolution Village. We need a new program here on Earth, a blueprint of sustainability. Now it's almost Christmas time. It's certainly not my favorite time of year. It's more of merry capitalism, isn't it? I wouldn't go out to a shopping mall for any reason on earth right now. It's the worst time of year to be around people in these shopping malls or anywhere really. On the streets, the traffic is terrible. It's cold, and people are basically not very friendly in a capitalist culture. They're friendly to their relatives this time of year for a very short period of time. And then in a lot of families, people just want to get away from each other or get drunk or take drugs or whatever it is to escape our situation of not really being able to connect on a deep level with each other. And why is this? Why can't we really talk about the issues of our times? Our species is in a crisis, whether it's an environmental crisis, an economic crisis, a human rights crisis. We are in an apocalyptic situation. Young people sense this. They are really into zombies and vampires and all these video games that deal with weapons of mass destruction. So the future does not look very bright for human beings. We got to change this. And this time of year, we see it's supposed to be like the holiest time of year. People tend to go to church on Christmas, and there is all this talk about the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God was made possible by Jesus Christ, who comes to earth through a virgin birth. So many of these mythologies around religious figures are these impossible miracles. And people get attached to them like they attach on like leeches onto the soul. And they get into this religious dogma, and they continue to repeat this story over and over again, as if somehow it's going to be some kind of magic and everything's going to be all right with the human species. But that's really not the case. If we look at science, we realize that there's this evolution that takes place, and futurists are saying that yes, we are at this evolutionary point again in cultural history, that we need this giant leap of understanding to be able to bring our species together in a new way. Well, let's look at the reality of Tucson. This is an image I did recently for the Occupy Tucson Citizen newspaper. I'm not sure they're going to use it or not, but the paper is coming out soon. We're having another edition, so be sure to pick it up. It's free around Tucson. And it's been a lovely process working with the paper. It's a collective, and we work through the internet to decide which pieces get in. And this issue is focusing on Raytheon. It's the largest employer in Tucson. They bring in millions of dollars into the city. And what do they make? They make weapons of mass destruction. You can see on that weapon I put customer service, because that's their slogan, that these bombs are really customer service, and they're making the best bombs available for their customers. And the city of Tucson will just do anything in order for Raytheon to continue business in Tucson. So it's not far-fetched to say the city of Tucson is operated by Raytheon. So the bomb makers are what makes this city function or dysfunction, because there's a lot of dysfunctional things happening in Tucson, like all the homeless people that you see around. That's dysfunction. A system of that continues to allow for urban sprawl when we have an ecological disaster on our hands, that's dysfunction. The public transportation system, at least we have one. I'm really happy about that, but it could function a lot better, and more people would take the public transportation if it did function better, like running a lot on weekends and running late into the night so that you can have a nightlife if you are carless. And it's good to be carless. You are helping the planet by being carless. And that's the truth, but our culture doesn't understand that. It's not giving people merit for getting off the automobile. So Raytheon is a negative corporation in terms of a Neutopian philosophy, because why do we want to have a bomb maker in a world where we don't need a nuclear war? That's the last thing we need, and we need to get rid of nukes. That is one of our biggest problems on this planet, especially living in the post-Fukushima environment, that we need to shut down the nuclear power plants and get rid of nuclear weapons. This is one of the CEOs at the Raytheon Corporation in Tucson. And why I put him up here is because I've been looking at this whole idea of redistribution of wealth. And why should CEOs get these millions of dollars and the government subsidizes corporations like Raytheon when we have a basic human rights problem of homelessness and children without proper nutrition and education? So that's a big question for us to consider, is why does a bomb maker like this man be able to make millions of dollars on his career doing something destructive to the planet Earth? Now, in this time of Christmas, we have to start thinking about what is the blueprint to provide for everybody's basic human needs. This is a basic function of religion, is to provide people with what they need and to solve problems. Those two things, solving problems and providing people with their basic human needs, is not happening. And then we have the 1%, like that Raytheon corporate executive, who are filthy rich. And we have this whole class of people who are very, very wealthy. And then we have all these people who are losing their jobs, and these jobs are not going to come back because our economy has changed, and it is in the process of automating production. On November 24th, 65% of Swiss voters rejected the so-called 1 to 12 referendum, which sought to limit the wage of top executives so they don't earn more in a month than lower paid employees do in a year. Now, they rejected this referendum, but it is a good idea to have a maximum limit on how much corporations, corporate executives can make. Now, this is how we start redistributing the wealth, is to put a cap on how much they can make. And with that money, that can be part of the money that goes into a pool to start giving people a basic income. Here is a whole campaign now that the Swiss are involved with. It is a movement that has become global in terms of looking at how to solve our economic crisis right now. When we have so many people, millions of people in the United States without work and without their basic human needs being met, and more people are falling through the cracks every day, that this idea of a basic income is wonderful. And what a basic income is that everyone would get a certain amount of money every year. I think that it should be universal basic guaranteed income, which means everyone in the earth, depending on what the basic standard of living is in that particular region of the world, would get a income that is adequate to take care of themselves. So, if you decide that you don't want to work, or you want to do art, or you want to go to school, or you want to take care of the elderly, or there's just tons and tons of volunteer work to be done. If you're not interested in pursuing some career, then you have this basic safety net that you can do what you want. Why do you think we don't have great art right now that is calling for change? Because people are so stressed out about their economic situation that they cannot do the work that they want to do. This is a tragedy. We are losing our talent. We're losing our genius. The spirit of innovation and creativity cannot exist within a capitalist culture where you have to fit yourself into this box that is not you in order to get a job that you don't love, that you really hate, and that goes nowhere in your life. These are the kind of jobs that you wake up in the morning and you just hate going to that job. And you can't wait to get off work, but you're exhausted afterwards because that job is like a vampire. It sucks the life force out of you. And I'm sure many of you who are listening to this show know exactly what I am talking about. And essentially, like I was talking about those young people that are into vampires and zombies, these jobs make you into a zombie because your soul is so unfulfilled. Your life has lost its meaning and the energy of it is gone. You are a shell of a person. How many people have these wonderful educations, have doctorates in fantastic things like anthropology or sociology or science, and they cannot find work except working for some corporation that is doing something like Raytheon, like making a biological warfare, or some dastardly thing. So much of our economy is about addiction that a lot of these jobs are about addiction, whether it's brewing alcohol or being a waitress in a bar or dealing out tobacco or whatever it is. It's a vice culture. So all these destructive patterns is what has formed our job economy. So we don't need that anymore. We need to heal people, and that's another thing. This basic income would allow people the time to be able to start doing acupuncture, to start doing yoga, to start doing Tai Chi, to learning about the inner self, to start understanding the multi-dimensional person that they really are. But in the present economy, they are unable to do that, and also the stress of having to go out and fit yourself in that capitalistic box of some job that you never dreamed you ever wanted. It's against your dream. It's anti-dream. That's what we need to change. And any true religious point of view is going to be about changing the economy. It's about bringing us back together so that we can find the solidarity to build something new. And here's our beautiful planet. This is what my Facebook looks like now. And please join my Facebook, Doctress Neutopia. I'd love to have you. I never reject anybody. So please join up. But here you'll see this. Gaia Messiahship, guidance for spaceship Earth. Spaceship Earth is a term used by Buckminster Fuller. If we start thinking about Earth as a spaceship, which it is, it's part of the Milky Way galaxy, and it's our ship. It's our life support system. It's the only planet that we have and that we are able to survive on. And we need this planet. And what we are missing right now is the operating manual to Spaceship Earth. Now, the Gaia Messiahship is a collective consciousness. It's to bring us so that we have this basic guaranteed income, and we have health care, and we have free education, and we have this community of scholars around the world who are looking at our social problems and finding solutions. Our biggest social problem is poverty. And the problems that come out of poverty, like drug addiction, criminal behavior, all sorts of terrible vices because of poverty. And the only solution to poverty is to getting rid of it. It's a human invention, just like money is a human invention. And whatever that Bible quote is, that the poor will always be with us, is simply a lie. It's one of the biblical lies, because we can eliminate poverty, as we can change the economic situation, and we can stop the 1% from dominating our world and bankrupting our lives with their greed. So to do this great feat of building a guaranteed income, I also believe that it is building a network of arcologies. Arcologies are ecological city designs. They were created by the late Dr. Paolo Soleri, an Italian architect. He created this model city called Arcologies in central Arizona. But his idea is great, and it needs great cooperative movement in order for it to happen. And that is why I'm looking at the Gaia Messiahship to help implement this necessary step in the evolution of humanity in order to build green, lovable cities. And I think that we cannot, as a species, survive global warming without this architectural and technological design. It's both. It's technology and design. What Buckminster Fuller called the design science revolution. And that's exactly what Arcologies would bring to us. But in order for people to get in tune with this new way of thinking, this new blueprint, we need them to have the basic guaranteed income so they have the time and space to be able to think about, how can I contribute to this new design? What role do I want? If I could do anything in the world, what would I want to help support that ecological city? These are the kind of questions that need to be asked by each individual in order to know where their true work is, where the great work is. Because everyone in this new system has some role to play that's truly them, that brings out their authentic self so they can work with the talents and the gifts and the skills that were part of their birthright. And in such a world, all property, all the earth is common ownership. And this is one of the principles of guaranteed income, that when you're born, you inherit the earth. And when you inherit the earth, that means that society should take care of you. It is your birthright to be taken care of. And this income is the first step in doing that. I see this as a wonderful idea. This is what Martin Luther King Jr. said about it. I am now convinced that the simplest approach will prove to be the most effective. The solution to poverty is to abolish it directly by a now widely discussed measure, the guaranteed income. I also read one time he said that we will finally do away with slavery when we have automated labor. We have that now. We have a chance to end slavery. The slavery to the boss, the slavery to this corporate executive. And we have a chance now to build a truly lovely world. We're going back to the basics here, back to the bacteria, to the life force, and then we can understand that all these religious mythologies are not adequate to deal with our crisis. But the life force does have a way for us to do this. The Gaia, the bacteria that make up our bodies, we are made up of these bacteria. And when we die, it is the bacteria that recycle us. We go back to the bacteria. So, how holy can you get? It's the small things in life that really count, aren't they? And we are made up of the small things. I want to thank you for being here, and Gaia bless us all.